Beloveds, warm and joyful greetings to you today. Welcome to Nurture the Soul. I'm your host, Tracy Howe, team leader and minister for faith education, innovation, and formation, Faith Info for short. And we are part of Justice and Local Church Ministries at the national setting of the United Church of Christ. Nurture the Soul is a weekly webinar sharing practical, educational, innovative, formational resources engaging critical topics for local churches and people of faith. From cultural and community organizing to congregational leadership, worship and theology to resourcing small and rural churches, from ministry with youth and children to wide-ranging justice issues, we feature guest artists, authors, and key leaders. Nurture the Soul moves with and engages the ways the gospel is alive in this time. This is a space for connection, community, and nurture, and we're so glad you're here. Together we can bring our church, our community, and the world towards the world God imagines for us all. So join us every Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Nurture the Soul, and look for special offerings from time to time as well. We're always producing opportunities to engage, and you can find a full list of upcoming digital programming at ucc.org/events or any of our social media platforms. And dear community, if these conversations move you and you find what is offered here helpful or enhances your ministry or your soul, please consider donating towards the annual fund of the United Church of Christ by texting UCC to 4144. Your prayerful and financial support helps programs like this and the essential work of the United Church of Christ. Thank you, and we're so glad you're here. So today we're starting our Summer Artist Series, a 4-part series bringing you music for congregational singing composed by artists from different settings and contexts. To celebrate and recognize Pride Month, today we have prophetic pride music for the church. And next week, we'll be joined by the Q Worship Collective with healing through inclusive and affirming queer worship. But today, I'm so excited to have Amanda Udis Kessler with us. She writes progressive sacred music, which she makes freely available, no licensing, no charge, through her website, queersacredmusic.com. Today, she will introduce her website, some of the resources that are available there, share videos of several hymns and worship songs, especially appropriate for Pride Month, and provide information about the UCC Musicians Association, of which she is an enthusiastic member. Amanda is also happy to answer questions about hymn writing and about the deep relationship between spirituality and creativity. And we will have the Q&A open during this webinar. Amanda's a hymn writer, a sacred music composer, and the accompanist at Vista Grande Community Church, UCC, where she is a covenantal partner. Amanda is also a sociologist and anti-racism educator, and her book, Abundant Lives, A Progressive Christian Ethic of Flourishing, will be published by Pilgrim Press in 2024. So Amanda, we are so glad to have you. Welcome to Nurture the Soul.
Thank you, Tracy. It's really delightful to be here, and I appreciate the invitation to start off the Summer Artist Series.
Yeah, we are so glad. Before you jump in, I want people to know, so Amanda and I, this is our first time that we get to see each other visually and share space at the same time, but we've been in touch for years now because we both write music. And it's just such a joy to have this common bond and now be able to share this space. So I will fully hand it over to you in your capable and wise hands. And I will be excited to come in and talk about all that you share towards the end of the webinar. Welcome, Amanda.
Thanks so much again. So here's what I've planned. I'm going to share 3 videos of my worship music. I'll take us through my website of free use, no licensing worship songs and hymns. It'll be a kind of a quick run through because there's a lot on there, but I'll show you how to navigate around it. We'll watch 3 more videos. I'll talk a little bit about the UCC Musicians Association and show you some highlights of their website and mention a couple of other resources, and then answer questions and respond to comments. So before we jump into the hymns and worship songs, I want to mention that there are scores or lead sheets or hymn texts available for all of them on the website. And I'm happy to email anyone scores or recordings or MP4s of the videos upon request. So we'll start with my hymn, Holy Boldness, Move Our Spirits. This can be sung to the music of the Ode to Joy, but the version I'm sharing here has original music. This video was originally made for the Reconciling Ministries Network of the United Methodist Church, but can be used by any inclusive, welcoming congregation, and it's quite appropriate for Pride, as you'll see in the video. So here is Holy Boldness, Move Our Spirits.
Holy boldness, move our spirits. Holy boldness, free our hearts. Stir our minds and drive us forward. Spur us on to do our parts. Help us make our lives a witness to your all-inclusive care. As we co-create your realm where faith is stronger than despair. Source of courage, move our bodies. Source of courage, guide our hands. Raise our voices, grant us strength to tell the truth that love demands. Help us make our lives a witness to your endless, wondrous grace. As we build the world you ache for, where each person finds a place. God of justice, move your people. God of justice, make us one. Joined in work and hope and prayer until your will is fully done. Help us make our lives a witness to your love of lost and least. As we set your sacred table, calling all to join the feast.
This next worship song, Fearfully, Wonderfully Made, was inspired by the 2019 call for new hymns for the collection Songs for the Holy Other, assembled by the Hymn Society in the United States and Canada. The final verse and chorus feel more relevant than ever as Pride Month this year occurs in the context of new levels of political, cultural, and physical violence against the LGBTQIA+ community. So here is Fearfully, Wonderfully Made.
My body is full of delight. I laugh and I sing and I dance and I play. I bask in the sun at the dawn of the day. I hold my beloved at night. For all of the joy that my senses can know, for pleasure and passion, the fire aglow, I lift up my voice in the deepest of praise, for I have been fearfully, wonderfully made. My body is tender and strong. I wonder and tremble and struggle with pain. I work and create, bless the world where I can. I offer my life's sacred song for all of the gifts that my body can bring, for all of the places my body has been. I bow down my head and in gladness I pray, for I have been fearfully, wonderfully made. Our bodies are objects of hate. We live with the judgment of those who condemn. They seek to suppress us and we rise again. Our beauty increasingly great. Although we are targets of violence and fear, we're free and we're proud and we won't disappear. Though some may reject us, we aren't afraid, for we have been fearfully, wonderfully made.
The next hymn, Queerly Beloved, was also written for Songs for the Holy Other and was actually published in that collection. In my experience, this hymn is most often used as a gathering or opening hymn, and in addition to being used in worship services, it is sometimes used in kind of Pride Month special gatherings. So it has a little bit of flexibility in its use, but here is Queerly Beloved.
Queerly beloved, we have assembled, joining in wonder, singing in praise, lifting our eyes, raising our voices, trusting in hope, in love, and in faith. Hallelujah, 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 God is great. Queerly beloved, we have been hated, treated as outcasts, ragged and rough. Still we persist, joyous and grateful, trusting that grace is ever enough. Hallelujah, 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 God is love. Queerly beloved, we have discovered love that is perfect, ending our fear. There is a truth waiting to claim us. There is a call so strong and so clear. Hallelujah, 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 God is here.
So now I would like to, thank you for the kind words there. Now I'd like to share my website and show people around that a little bit for a few minutes. So you should now be seeing the Queer Sacred Music website, which again, the link has been dropped in the chat and I know will be available later as well. There's way too much on here to look at everything, but I'll point to a few places that I think will be of most use for people. So we're on the home page right now, and the home page is used to provide updates on new materials and indicate where there have been major changes in the website. So for example, this list here is everything that I've added in 2023 as of the end of May. So it is in alphabetical order by title, says a little bit about what each piece is, says whether it's text only, text and video, score recording video, and so on, and also tells you which subpage you can find the materials on. So for example, Blessed Are You the Poor in Spirit is a hymn text only to be used, I think it's with Hifradal, and that's on the Other Worship Music #1 page. We'll look at some of those pages in a couple of minutes. So there's the home page, and this also tells you that I've updated some of the other subpages. The Queer Sacred Music page explains why the website has this name and what I think queer sacred music means. You're obviously welcome to read that if you like. For someone new to the website, I really recommend the Start Here page to find music. It gives you instructions about how to browse among scores or recordings or videos. If you know that you're looking for a particular piece of music because you've already heard the title of it, this page is in full alphabetical order for literally everything across the entire site, and there is a lot of it, but again, in alphabetical order. And what I think is helpful here is it tells you also what subpage something is on. So we just heard Queerly Beloved, which is here. That is on the LGBTQIA plus music 2 page, which is something you can get to again from the top here. So there is that page. So the free use, no licensing page, I don't need to show it to you, but I do want to tell you what I mean by it. It means exactly what it says. Anyone watching this now, watching this live, watching this later, watching this at any time is welcome to use any of my music at any time without payment, without requesting permission, without reporting the music use to me or to anyone else. You're welcome to use it live or the pre-recorded recordings or videos in worship services. You're welcome to sing it at protests. You're welcome to use it for your own quiet reflection and meditation time. Really, however you'd like to use it is wonderful. The one thing I do ask, it's a request, not a requirement, is if you use one of these pieces live in a worship service and that worship service happens to be getting recorded, I would love to see a video of that later. So I hope you might get in touch with me by email and let me know and share the video so that I can see how your congregation engaged with the music. I'd now like to spend a little bit more time on the church season music page to show you what the kind of layout of these subpages are. So this page has on it material for Advent, Christmas, including a blue Christmas hymn, Evolution Sunday, Lent, Palm Sunday, Easter, Pentecost, and Blessing of the Animals services. I add things regularly, so there may be something new there at any point. The way these subpages are structured, if you click on the title and you see that it highlights as Christmas Star has here, that means that a YouTube video will pop up in a separate window. So in cases where I don't have a video, there won't be any such link on the title. There's a brief description of where it might be used here. So this gives you what the song is and a link to the video. If we now scroll down, and these are all in alphabetical order, they're not broken out by season, they're broken out alphabetically. Underneath this, I have links to scores and recordings. So the videos are linked through the titles, and then there's a separate section that links to scores and recordings. If you click just directly on this, it will open in the same window. If you right click on any of the buttons, it will open in a new window or tab. So that is how you get around all of the subpages. I have a few communion hymns on a communion hymns page. I have a few rounds, actually quite a few rounds on the rounds page. The justice music page covers material related to environmentalism, economic justice, racism, gun violence, and broader justice issues. A great majority of my music mentions or refers to justice issues, but this page has the more focused materials on it. There are then 2 pages of LGBTQIA plus music, 2 pages because there's too many pieces to have on just one page. So it covers a pretty wide range of topics. Some of them are pieces you will hear today. Some of them are not. As a quick example of one that we're not listening to today, this piece, The Light Comes as a Rainbow, offers a queer take on the text about the covenant in Genesis 9 following the flood story. So quite a bit of this music is biblically inspired, but not all of it is. It addresses a range of issues and comes from a range of sources. But again, where I can, I've tried to provide a lot of music that works well with, say, the lectionary. There's then 2 pages of what I'm calling other worship music. And what that is music that doesn't fit under church season, communion hymns, or justice music, or LGBTQIA plus music, but that might be useful in worship. There's quite a few gathering hymns, sending out hymns, that kind of thing. There are a few engagements with the Jesus prayer, or what many people would call the Lord's Prayer, in there in different versions. So that's these two pages. There's a page that has scores of music of mine that either I or other people have arranged for choir, ranging from the pretty simple to the insanely complicated. The other songs page has materials that I don't assume you would mostly use in worship, but some people might. Quite a lot of my third album is on there, and many of those are in styles that are not traditional church styles, but they are there, and you're welcome to listen to them or use them or see the videos. There's a subpage on Unitarian Universalist music. That is the tradition from which I came to the UCC, and I still have a lot of affection for it in my heart, and I want you to be able to continue to use my music, so that is there. The All Scores page has every single score or text that is available on the website. It starts here. They are all in alphabetical order. There are 136 scores on this page. That doesn't mean there's 136 different pieces, because for some items, there are more than one score available. And in this case, on the scores page, if you click on a score, on the title, you will link to the score itself. It will open again in the same window. If you right click on it, it will open in a new window. I'm actually going to go back for 1 minute and show you something on church season music that I forgot to mention, because it is the one exception to the structure of everything else here. There are two pieces on this subpage. They're both Advent related. So Hope Waits for Us at Advent and Make of My Heart Stable. For these two, there are, in addition to kind of a main score or a main recording or a main video, there are weekly videos for Advent 1, Advent 2, Advent 3, and Advent 4. That's where you would click to get the weekly ones. For Make of My Heart Stable, again, if you click on Advent 1, Advent 2, Advent 3, or Advent 4, you would get the videos specifically for each of those weeks. So that's the one thing that might be a little confusing. So I wanted to go back and mention that. To the All Recordings page, there are 134 recordings on this page. Again, everything is in alphabetical order from the beginning, the A's all the way down to, I think there's a Y in here. I think You Cannot Serve God and Guns is on there. So that's how you would get around there. All of these are freely downloadable. You can listen to them just by clicking on the arrow. If you go to info, it should pull up the lyrics or the text. Then there's the YouTube video page. There are 131 total videos on this page. Most of them are sacred music. A few of them are videos of me doing one thing or another related to music. One thing that I think is really important about this page is that if you click on these, if you decide, I want to hear What Above All Else is, and you click on it, it will pull up YouTube, and you might very well get a YouTube ad, about which I am very sorry. So if you watch something on this page and you like it, and you would like to have a usable version of it that does not have YouTube ads, I've put my email address here, and I would invite people to contact me so that they can ask for a video that I can send you without the additional complications of YouTube, including ads. That would be an MP4. I have compressed versions of most of them. They are pretty much all emailable, so we don't have to do WeTransfer or Dropbox or anything like that. I can usually email them to you. So that's the YouTube videos page. The language use page covers my struggling and sometimes flailing attempts to write material that avoids ableist, sexist, racist, classist, and anti-Semitic language in my worship music. I find this very hard to do. I cannot tell you how many items I've pulled off this page, specifically because I'm still trying to figure out how to fix the text to make them fully anti-oppressive and fully inclusive. So I have some comments about that here. I always welcome input from people. If you see or hear something in my music that needs improvement, please let me know, and I will take it down and work on it and put it back up. I then want to mention the music styles page. So in several other places, you notice that I have indicated what subpage you can find something on, and the subpages are kind of thematic, like church season music and so on. This page lets you know what music is available, my musical style. There are 3 kinds of music that are not listed on this page. So the rounds are not listed here because there is a whole subpage of rounds. Taze style pieces and single verse or single refrain pieces are not listed here. Those are almost all on either church season or other worship music pages. So you can find those there. But here are the styles that I cover here. There are a number of items that could be considered folk or country music. So you can see the title in alphabetical order and which subpage they're on. There's a handful of gospel music inspired pieces. We're about to listen to one actually in a minute. Hymn texts with traditional music. So I've indicated here the sort of commonly used name of the tune, Hifredal, say, or Nettleton, Hymn to Joy, and so on. Then there is what I am calling European inspired hymn music. And what I mean by that is I wrote the music, but it sounds fairly like a traditional hymn. And finally, quite a lot of pop songs, because I started as a pop songwriter and still love writing pop music and believe that good worship music is sometimes pop music. Finally, there's a few other types of music in the mix. If you would like to listen to a tango, for example, I have one called Hell is a Human Invention that is somewhat fun, and you can find that on the other songs page. I want to talk just a little bit about the African American music page. I am mindful that I write some of my music in gospel idioms, and I would ask that if you use the pieces that are listed here as falling under that idiom, that you engage in the act of musical reparations by making a donation to either a racial justice organization of your choosing or to one of the 2 organizations linked here that are especially appropriate for this kind of thing. I am deeply grateful to have been trained in some of my piano playing and songwriting by Black and African American musicians. I hope my work does them honor and justice. And I strongly encourage you again to, if you have some money to do this, to donate. There's more information about musical reparations in a couple of places. 2 of them are mentioned on this page, one we're going to get to shortly. And then finally, I'll mention the commissions page quickly. If you, your congregation, your social justice organization would like an original piece of music, a pop song, a hymn, a round, whatever it might be, written for you, I take no charge music commissions. Now I'm a little backed up at the moment, so I'm currently going to be writing again probably in the fall, but you are welcome to contact me at any time and inquire, and we can start the conversation. So I've put my email here as well. Normally what happens if you are interested in a commission is that we have a Zoom meeting. I ask you a lot of questions. We sort of talk through the text, you share information with me. If you want original music, we talk through the music as well. And then we sort of set up a timeline and I get to work. So that is what I want to show you about the website. Again, I hope people will look at it and enjoy it and listen to music on it at their convenience. So what I now would like to do is have us go back to a couple of videos. This next piece is The Church Where Love Lives. I'd originally intended to show a Pride video for this, but there were some technical issues, so I have provided the same recording with a different video that is not specifically Pride focused. This is another commission from the Methodists, and it was specifically for an inclusion movement in one of the Methodist jurisdictions. So this will always be a Pride piece for me. And I encourage you now to enjoy The Church Where Love Lives.
The church where love lives is a safe place for all, where we gather in wonder remember God's call, to embody God's vision of kindness and care. With each song that we sing, with each protest and prayer, on this sacred foundation of faith and of trust, we are building a world that is gentle and just. We rejoice and repent, offer praise and forgive, and we welcome all people to the church where love lives. The church where love lives draws the stranger inside, making neighbors of strangers, no neighbor denied, till there's heaven on earth and God's will has been done, till the whole of creation is restored to its home. On this sacred foundation of faith and of trust, we are building a world that is gentle and just. We rejoice and repent, offer praise and forgive, and we welcome all people to the church where love lives. The church where love lives is preparing a feast for the pained and rejected, for the lost and the least, for the deeply afraid, for the truly ashamed. Come and sit at our table, love has called you by name. On this sacred foundation of faith and of trust, we are building a world that is gentle and just. We rejoice and repent, offer praise and forgive, and we welcome all people to the church where love lives. We welcome all people to the church where love lives.
Here's one more piece for Pride Month. This pop song did not start out as a Pride song, but became one when a Canadian queer choir recorded it a couple of years ago. The video that we're going to share today was put together specifically for a trans Pride worship service. This is called All of Who I Am. So please enjoy All of Who I Am.
Something I'm learning day after day, something that steadies my feet on the way, is the truth that my life brought me right to the place I am now. Though I don't know how, there is not a doubt, nothing is wasted, nothing is lost. All that I went through, whatever the cost, I can use on the road to the person I'm trying to be. None of it came free, but all of it is me. All of who I am is beautiful and strong, as I come to know that all of me belongs, my best and my worst, the ways that I've grown, the struggles I've faced, the joy that I've known. There is a blessing I'm trying to understand. It's been there since my life began. I will find it in all of who I am. Some of my kindness comes from my pain. Sorrow and tenderness join once again in a spirit of gentle compassion that helps me accept every last regret and lets me move ahead. Days on the journey, years on the path, wisdom abounding whenever I ask, and I've come to believe that whatever I need I will find. Every single time, love will be my guide. All of who I am is beautiful and strong, as I come to know that all of me belongs, my best and my worst, the ways that I've grown, the struggles I've faced, the joy that I've known. There is a blessing I'm trying to understand. It's been there since my life began. I will find it in all of who I am. All of who I am is beautiful and strong, as I come to know that all of me belongs, my best and my worst, the ways that I've grown, the struggles I've faced, the joy that I've known. There is a blessing I'm trying to understand. It's been there since my life began. I will find it in all of who I am. I will find it in all of who I am.
Finally, I'd like to cheat a little bit and share a hymn that is not specifically about Pride Month, but which I love so much, I really can't help sharing here. This is a hymn text that celebrates process theology, which I find to be a wonderfully queer way of thinking about the sacred. So this hymn text is set to Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing, which the musicians among you will know as Nettleton. It is called God is Known. So please enjoy God is Known.
God is known in all creation, in the oceans and the trees, in the plains and in the mountains, in the storms and in the breeze. God is known in every being, in its birth and life and death. God infuses every motion, every heartbeat, every breath. God is known in evolution, in the ways we grow and change. God is known in our connections with all creatures close and strange. God unfolds in our unfolding. God evolves as we evolve, coaxing order out of chaos, full of patience and resolve. God is known in human action, in the work we do to learn. God is known in our amazement and the joy we find in turn, as the knowledge we develop of the earth on which we ever shifting and unfurling, an astounding whirling blend of the known and the unknowable, wondrous mystery breaking through. God is known in all creation, making all things ever new.
So I hope you've enjoyed the music, and I again encourage people to explore my website. I'm now going to talk a little bit about a few other resources, starting with the UCC Musicians Association, and then mention a couple of additional ones. The UCC Musicians Association is a nonprofit, grassroots, membership-based organization run entirely by volunteers. Its mission is to inspire, educate, and nurture those who minister through music and the arts in the United Church of Christ and beyond. It is celebrating its 30th anniversary during this upcoming year by sharing the next 3 issues of its online journal, Worship, Music, and Ministry, for free on its website, including the summer 2023 issue, which is now available. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and just point quickly to a couple of things on their website. What I'd like to point out is that I am not logged in as a member right now. So what you see is what you can find if you just go to their general website and explore. One thing I'd like to point out immediately is that there are these Saturday sharing gatherings where members and friends of the association talk about what being a church musician is like these days, what we can be doing better, how we can support each other. We learn a lot from each other, share resources and ideas, and troubleshoot and all sorts of things. It's a great resource for church musicians. Here we see the journal, Worship, Music, and Ministry. And again, on this home page, there's this option to get it free for the next couple of issues. There's also a 90-day trial membership for people who decide to look around this site and find it of interest. I'm not going to click here, but epiphanies are the writings of the UCC Musicians Association chaplain. Yes, this organization has its own chaplain, the Reverend Dr. Peter Stickney, who is magnificent and a delight and an inspiration. And I promised him I would mention him, even though I know he is at a music rehearsal right now and cannot be with us. The journal, which I'll click on here, it's published 3 times a year, and it includes a wide range of resources. New music. So for example, there is a new piece, I think, in this issue as well. There are essays about best practices in everything from handbell choirs to liturgical dance. There are collected ideas for worship music by season, choir size, and other categories. So for example, I'm highlighting here a few of our favorite classic anthems for smaller churches. So this is just a great collection of stuff. And then I want to mention one more thing that is not at all obvious. So we're going to have to go to the events site and click on royalties for spirituals. I talked before a little bit about musical reparations. This is an incredible resource, specifically about royalties for the use of what are often called Negro spirituals. So there's a tremendous amount of wisdom and information and some resources on this page. I heartily encourage all of you to look this over and get familiar with these resources. As the primary musician at a small UCC church, Vista Grande Community Church in Colorado Springs, I have been an enthusiastic member of the UCC Musicians Association for several years. I cannot say enough good things about them as a supportive community, a community of learning, a resource, and for those of us who write church music, a great place to better understand the music needs of today's UCC churches, so that I, for example, can better understand how to support those needs as a hymn writer or sacred music composer. My understanding is that we have some UCCMA members online today, and I hope they will weigh in once we get to the Q&A. So the last thing I want to do before we turn to that is briefly mention a couple of other resources. I'm not going to include screen shares for these, but links for them will be made available. First, the Progressive Christian Artists Network has a Facebook group where members share resources and connect with one another. This network includes musicians, writers, visual artists, and others. It's a great group of people. It's a great place to sort of encounter music early when it's just coming out by people who are part of this community. Then there is the extraordinary Convergence Music Project, which has the slogan, "Music for a Just and Generous Christianity." I hope all of us who are watching this, whenever we're watching it, are supporters of music for a just and generous Christianity. There is an extensive website of great music, and a relatively low fee gives one access to all of it. I know that Tracy has a number of items there, so I encourage people to check that out as they explore perhaps less traditional sounding, in some cases, pieces of music for worship and other purposes. And the last thing I want to mention is a new worship resource that is just coming out now in both a published, a printed book form, and also as an online and electronic resource called A Liturgy for All Bodies, New Words for a New World. This set of essays, liturgy, and worship music was put together by a collective of progressive Christians and others, all of whom fall into one or more of the following categories: LGBTQIA+, BIPOC, disabled, poor, or otherwise on the margins of traditional Christianity. I am part of the collective that created it, and I think it has some wonderful resources in it. Most of the ones I think are great are actually not my own contributions. They're the incredibly rich liturgical pieces that other people wrote, but there's a range of items there, and you will get a link to a website where you can find out more and perhaps order it if you like. So at this point, I am happy to have a discussion, answer questions. They might be about my sacred music, happy to talk about spirituality and queerness, the creative process, or anything else that's on your mind. I'd also love to hear your thoughts about progressive worship music, what you are going to be singing during Pride Month, or really anything else that nurtures your soul.
Amanda, thank you so much. That was just gorgeous. What a wonderful and rich offering. I'm struck by many things as you speak and as you share. And one of those things is that progressive music is not about style or genre. So when you use that term, because you hold so many genres and different styles as you're speaking about this, it becomes clear that it is much more about the place we're coming from and the vision that we're holding of God and God's love. And I wonder if you could share a little bit about how that's been nurtured in you, because certainly there's a lot of toxic theology. And, you are a beloved elder, if I may say that, in the queer community and church community. And so you've seen a lot of different iterations and different vocabularies and lots of different things. I would love to know how your vision of God's love, which is so necessary to be able to continually unfold him after him and be so prolific as you are, how has that been nurtured?
So one of my core creativity slogans, both within and outside of sacred music, is input in, output out. And so I nurture my spirituality and my creativity and my spiritual creativity by reading a tremendous amount of what I would consider progressive Christian writing. That includes biblical scholarship from the Jesus Seminar and the people around it. It includes the theology of people like Kurt Struckmeyer. Obviously, I read Brian McLaren. I'm deep into the Living the Questions curriculum, and I am friends with both David Felton and Jeff Proctor Murphy, who have taught me a lot. In addition to the nurture I receive from my own congregation, where I am not just a musician, but a member, a covenantal partner, I also stay in touch with other progressive churches. I watch their services online, not live, obviously, because I'm at my own, but later. So I try to be continually seeking to understand what the possibilities are and the challenges are of progressive Christianity, and how it can nurture us, and where we have to struggle with it, and where its growing edges are. And so for me, attending worship is very helpful. I listen to a lot of progressive music, a lot of progressive sacred music. A number of things, pieces that are on, for example, the Convergence site are important to me. Because I moved to progressive Christianity from a different tradition and didn't grow up Christian, I've really had to deep dive to be a church musician. So I've had to just immerse myself in the writings of Brian Sergio and Richard Bruxford Colligan and Christopher Grundy and you and all the other people who are doing this. And so for me, it's just massively taking this stuff in and then thinking about, what do the issues seem to be? What do people seem to need? Where are the gaps? So that piece, God is Known, that I shared last, was a commission for Evolution Sunday this year at a church. So, they sent me a description of what the sermon was going to be like and what their advertising flyer was going to be like. And I said, okay, this needs process theology. And so, I've read some John Cobb. I've read, I follow Michael Dowd. So there's just tremendous resources out there. And I just try to take them in and then engage with them and put them back out in the world in a different way.
Thank you for that. So I also am a theology nerd and a process theology nerd. So I really appreciate that. But I would love for you to share, your basic kind of definition, or help illuminate that term for people who might not realize there's whole different kind of schools of thoughts and traditions of theology. So what does process theology mean to you, or what are the parts that are really life-giving and beautiful?
The most beautiful thing about process theology to me is its idea that God, the divine, the sacred, is not this entity apart from creation and separate from our lives and our experiences, but is present in all things and unfolds and grows and learns, as it were, along with us. That our unfolding, as the hymn says, is God's unfolding in some way, and that evolution is a way of understanding the work of the sacred, that science and religion are not in tension. They are two different ways of telling an overarching, beautiful, magnificent story. And obviously there's a lot more to say about process theology, but I would mention really quickly 2 points that have been important for me in thinking about it. One of them is the story in a couple of the Gospels about Jesus and, for example, the Syrophoenician women, though I think it's the Canaanite woman in a different version, where he says, I wasn't sent to help you, I was sent to help my people. I don't care for the dogs. And she says, even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from the master's table. And he says, oops, my bad, you got me, I'm wrong. And so Jesus grows and changes, and this got kept in the Gospels. I mean, how could this not be a true story? It's so embarrassing. Clearly, if it were made up, it would not have been included. So whatever we make of Jesus, we see an example of Jesus growing and changing, given right to us. And then, of course, there's Brian Wren's wonderful hymn, Bring Many Names. And the earliest version of the verse about the young growing God has the line in it, willing to be changed by what you've started. And that has just tortured me in a loving way for the longest time. It has just broken my heart open over and over again, that if whatever God is, whatever the divine is itself open to continual change and emergence and newness, then we are all invited to do that as well, to try to be brave, to keep becoming our better selves, to keep striving to build this beloved community. So that is a very fast introduction to process theology.
Yes. Yes. And you did quite well. I'm not sure I would have been able to be that concise if the question was reversed. So, but I get to be asking the questions today, so all good. Another thing that really strikes me as you're sharing all these resources is the role that community plays in creating, making, sharing music. We're going to feature Convergence music and some artists from Convergence on July 20th, the fourth part of this webinar series. And some of my work is on Convergence. I think of it as like fair trade music because, the creators and Brian Sergio were so concerned about being able to sustain the livelihood of artists in an economy that just consumes. And, for all of us who have some songs on Spotify, and we receive those 0.000002 cents, per play, it's hard. So it's a wonderful kind of direct way to connect with artists that don't have infrastructure like you've set up for yourself, and have direct access to. So, but I would love to know, has music, what you've written or these spaces that you've been, what's been kind of surprising relationships or delightful relationships that have grown because of it?
Well, one thing I feel I'd better address first, and I thought this might come up, is the really legitimate moral question of how on earth can I give my stuff away for free when so many magnificent, brilliant songwriters and hymn writers are struggling to make a living? Because am I not literally stealing your livelihood? And I mean, I struggle with this. I do struggle with this ethically. I have chosen to have a day job so that I can give the music away. And I do struggle ethically with that issue. But especially during COVID, when so many congregations had no money, I felt that my most immediate obligation was to them. And so what I try to do is to, as much as I can, support, share the music of, encourage people to use the music of people like you and others who are making money off it. So that is the small thing I've tried to do to wrestle with that ethical issue, to be clear. I think what has been amazing for me is this website has led people to me to ask for permission to use things, which of course they can always have, but has also led people to ask me to write works for them. And I have met the strangest range of wonderful people, and it has enriched my spiritual life and my social life, and has taught me a lot about how people in different segments of progressive Christianity are doing their work. So I recently engaged with a really interesting progressive ELCA church in Chicago that is quite racially diverse, quite queer, and the music they use is kind of these days a mix of my stuff and basically contemporary Christian music, which is the fascinating mix, because CCM is not what we normally think of as progressive Christian, but that works for them. And so I've sort of gotten to understand a little bit of how they work and some of the tensions they have, and kind of how they struggle to piece their liturgical lives together. So there's a tremendous amount to learn. People are almost always extremely kind. And what can I say? I mean, I try to do this to serve. That is my hope. But I would be lying if I said I didn't get a tremendous amount of joy and many blessings from it as well.
Thank you, Amanda. Well, with that, I also want to just thank the UCC Musicians Association, who actually kind of lent you to us for the purpose of today, and say that that's just such a beautiful and robust community. I have been blessed to work and collaborate with several artists who are part of the UCCMA. And most notably for when I directed General Synod worship 2 years ago, the first virtual General Synod. And we did a call out for new works, and a number of UCCMA affiliated church musicians submitted, and we actually produced a few of those. I'm going to put the link in here. because those are all still available for folks. And you, Amanda, of course, composed our theme anthem, and we put that together with Brian Johnson, the music director of Trinity Church in Chicago, and it was just wonderful and fun to produce, and a beautiful gift that you gave to the church. So I'll leave that link as our closing kind of places. You are such a gift, Amanda, and thank you for sharing everything that you have today. Thank you for all of you who have joined us, and please join us again next week as we continue the Summer Artist Series and special offerings coinciding with Pride Month. I bless all of your work in community building and music making, and as you uncover and discover the divine becoming with and among and through you. Thank you for joining us on Nurture the Soul.
Siblings in Christ, if you were moved by this conversation, if what's been offered here has helped enhance your ministry or has nurtured your soul for the journey, please consider donating to the annual fund of the United Church of Christ by texting UCC to 41444. Your support will help to provide programs like this, which are an essential part of our ministries in the United Church of Christ. Thank you for your support. Be blessed on your journey and know that you are not alone. We are holding you in prayer. Amen.